I don't know what the hell happened to 2024, but there's also, I read a crazy stat once that like 80% of people who set a New Year's goal end up abandoning it by by like February, right? So this just felt really relevant, and I think a couple things that I had written down that I would say to people, and obviously Brad, you can feel free to say give your suggestions too, but I think most people in our group, most of our listeners, they aim to lose weight. So I would say setting something realistic like 1 to 2 pounds per week for weight loss. Don't like feel like you need to go to the gym 7 days a week because that's probably not sustainable for people. So 3 to 4 times per week maybe better. Try to increase your protein intake by a reasonable amount. But just like trying to make sure, I think that as you head into 2025, that your goals aren't too lofty, that they are attainable as we talked about, and just making sure that because I think unless you want to become one of those 80%, unless you want to become another stat, I think you have to set something that you're not going to sputter out on, that is realistic, something that makes sense for you, that you can actually achieve. So what advice would you give people that are setting New Year's goals and really want to take charge of their health into 2025? What can people do to ensure that they don't become part of that 80%?
I mean, the first thing I tell people is you don't fail if you don't quit. Arbitrary
Yeah.
measure of your goal, it doesn't mean you failed. It just means the goal wasn't calibrated well.
Well, let's also specify that failure is built into the process of getting better. So you're going to fail, right? Like that is just called getting better.
Yeah. So I think the first thing is just kind of realize the only real failure is if you actually do quit. So just keep going. The
True.
second thing is I think a lot of people don't realize the actual time it takes to get to where they want to go. And there's the old kind of idiom of if it took you 30 years to gain the weight, why would you expect you to lose it all in 30 days? And I actually think, I mean, there's a lot of validity to that from a like mathematical standpoint. But what I really try to tell people is you've been compounding your behaviors and your habits and your patterns in one direction for 30 years. And now you're asking yourself to completely change it. So it's going to take time for these to be long-lasting, sustainable habits. And you just have to try to continue to compound them. That's the second piece.